Welcome to the Understanding State Membership Categories, First Tier and Second Tier presentation. My name is Raquel, and in this video, you'll learn about state membership, specifically about First Tier and Second Tier categories. This video is designed for the State of California employees who are in the miscellaneous or industrial classification. If you are in the state safety classification, or if you work for a public agency or a school, this video may not apply to you. Before we get to the main presentation, let's take care of some housekeeping items. We've provided a presentation notes document to help you follow along and reference later. You'll see the link to the presentation notes in the YouTube description box. Please note that due to the large number of participants, although the chat feature is active, we won't be able to respond to member questions during this presentation. If you have any questions, please contact us directly. Today, we'll cover first and second tier membership, compare the two formulas, review your election rights, discuss conversion options, and we will wrap up with helpful resources. Before we begin, I'd like to briefly remind you that this presentation is intended for state miscellaneous and industrial members. Let's begin with the two state membership tiers, first tier and second tier. The first category is first tier. Most state employees are placed into first tier membership, either as classic or PEPRA members, depending on when they were hired. With first tier, you contribute to CalPERS during your career and typically receive the highest level of retirement benefits. The second category is second tier. With second tier, you have reduced employee contributions and a reduced retirement pension. Now we'll walk through a side-by-side comparison of first tier and second tier membership so you can better understand the key differences. Let's start with member contributions. This is the percentage of pay you contribute towards your retirement. Under first tier, if you were coordinated with Social Security, in other words, paying into Social Security, your contribution rate is typically 8 to 10% of your salary. If you are not paying into Social Security, your rate is generally 9 to 11%. Your exact contribution rate is determined by your collective bargaining unit agreement. Under second tier, the contribution structure is a bit different. Prior to July 1, 2013, state second tier members did not pay employee contributions. Due to changes in the law, effective July 1, 2013, second tier members were required to begin contributing. The contribution rate is reduced in comparison to first tier members' contribution rates. The contribution rate of second tier members may adjust annually until it reaches half of the normal cost to fund your retirement benefit. Currently, the second tier contribution is 3.75% and subject to change. The minimum requirements for service retirement are also different based on the two tiers. For first tier members, the minimum age to retire is 50 with 5 years of CalPERS service as a classic member, or a minimum of age 52 if you are a PEPRA member. You can learn the differences between classic versus PEPRA membership on our website. There is a link to our website in the presentation notes. For second tier, the minimum age is 55 with 10 years of service, or a minimum age of 50 for members with 5 years of service credit prior to January 1, 1985. The minimum requirements for disability retirement are different as well. For first tier, you'll need 5 years, and for second tier, you'll need 10 years or 5 years of credited service prior to January 1, 1985. Depending on your state tier, adjustment to your final compensation may also be affected. If you are under first tier and your service was coordinated with Social Security, your final compensation is reduced by $133.33. For example, if you are paying into Social Security and your final compensation is $5,000, then CalPERS would use $4,866.67 as your final compensation in your retirement calculation. If you are in second tier, your final compensation is not reduced regardless of Social Security coverage. Your cost of living adjustment, or COLA, is affected by your tier. For first tier, your COLA could be up to 2% per year, compounded annually depending on the Consumer Price Index, or CPI. And for Tier 2, your COLA is a fixed 3% per year, compounded annually, not based on the CPI. Now let's go over the different retirement formulas for first and second tier members. All state, miscellaneous, and industrial members fall under one of these retirement formulas shown. When you are first hired, you may be placed into a first-tier formula, which is either 2% at 55, 2% at 60, or 2% at 62. The 2% at 55 and 2% at 60 formulas apply to classic members, while 2% at 62 applies to PEPRA members. Your formula is determined by your hire date and your state bargaining unit agreement. If you elected second tier, your corresponding formula would be either 1.25% at 65 or 1.25% at 67. If you are not sure which retirement formula you may have, be sure to register or log on to your CalPERS account to find your formula. Now let's look at how the different first tier and second tier formulas impact your retirement calculation. Your retirement is calculated using a simple formula. Service credit times benefit factor times final compensation equals your unmodified allowance. Unmodified allowance is the standard, unreduced monthly retirement benefit calculated before any adjustments for optional beneficiary payments. To learn more about how your retirement is calculated, watch our video on retirement calculations. For these sample scenarios, the member is age 55 with 25 years of service credit and a final compensation of $3,133.33 per month. This member is coordinated with Social Security, so their final compensation is reduced by $133.33 before applying the formula. With the 2% at 55 first-year formula, based on the member's retirement age of 55, 25 years of service credit, and a final compensation of $3,133.33, reduced to $3,000 due to Social Security coordination, the calculated unmodified allowance is $1,500 per month. By contrast, using the 1.25% at 65 second-tier formula, the member's unmodified allowance is significantly reduced compared to the first-tier calculation. The final compensation used is also different because as a second-tier member, the final compensation is not reduced by the $133.33 amount, as mentioned earlier. The unmodified allowance would be $587.50. Overall, the factors in the calculations are the same except for the tier and the formula. So this shows that the second-tier calculation is significantly less than a first-tier calculation. The second-tier retirement benefit is $912.50 less than the first-tier calculation. Let's do another example using a 2% at 62 PEPRA first-tier formula. The member is 62 years of age at retirement and has 25 years of state service credit, and their final compensation is $3,133.33. With the 2% at 62 first-tier formula, based on the member's age of 62, and with 25 years of service credit, and a $3,000 final compensation, the member's calculated unmodified allowance is $1,500. Now let's take a look at the 1.25% at 67 PEPRA second-tier formula. The member's unmodified allowance is $822.50. That is a $677.50 difference compared to the first tier calculation. Even with the PEPR formulas, the second tier benefit is less than the first tier benefit calculation. Again, the factors are the same: age 62 with 25 years of service credit and final compensation being $3,133.33. To get a general idea of how much you'd receive at retirement, we encourage you to run some estimates. You can do that through your CalPERS account. Running estimates will give you clarity and confidence in planning for your financial future. You may be wondering, how do I select or make an election between first tier and second tier? Let's take a moment to review your election rights and what options may be available to you. So how do you select a tier? There's no action required to remain in first tier, but if you wanted to make an election to enter second tier, you have 180 days from the date you begin contributing to CalPERS. To elect second tier, you must complete and submit the election document for State Second Tier Retirement Formula Form to CalPERS within 180 days from the date you began contributing to CalPERS. If you do not submit your election within 180 days, you will be considered to have made a permanent election to remain under the first tier retirement formula. This cannot be undone. The election document for State Second Tier Retirement Formula Form can be found in the back of our CalPERS Publication 52, Second Tier Benefit Election Package. You can find Publication 52 in the Forms and Publications section of our website. Before we move on, please note that the law requires your spouse or domestic partner to sign this form. If you are currently in second tier and decide you'd prefer to be in first tier, you may have the option to convert. Let's take a closer look at how that conversion process works. To convert your second tier service to first tier, you must meet all of the following requirements. First, you must not be retired. Second, you must currently have second tier service credit with CalPERS. Third, you must have already elected first tier for your future service, but still have prior service that has not yet been converted. And finally, you must have been an active state member on or after January 1, 2000. If you meet these requirements, the conversion process may involve 2 steps. Let's walk through what those steps look like. Your first step is to elect first tier for future service. Understand that this is a permanent election. Once the election is finalized, you'll begin to see an increase in your member contributions. To start the process, submit the request in your CalPERS account. Go to the Retirement tab, select Service Credit Purchase, and select the Convert to First Tier button. We'll process your election to convert your formula to first tier and notify your employer. Your employer will report payroll with first tier contributions taken out. Here is the second part of the process. Once you're in first tier and are interested in purchasing your past second tier service, you can submit your request online. Purchasing your past second tier service is optional. You can keep your past service in second tier. To begin the request, log in to CalPERS. Go to the Retirement tab, select Service Credit Purchase, and view the available purchase options to request the cost. Once we receive all required documents and determine eligibility, the cost and election details will be available in CalPERS for your review within 60 days. For information on how to pay for the conversion, search for payment options on our website. We've covered quite a bit about first and second tier membership. Before we close, let's take a look at some helpful resources you can use moving forward. The most useful tool is a CalPERS account. We highly encourage you to register for one if you haven't done so yet. Scan the QR code to register for an account. With an account, you can determine if you are either a first tier or a second-tier member. And if you are a second-tier member, you can begin the process of converting to first tier through your account. With your account, under the Retirement panel, it will display your retirement formula. If your formula is one of the second-tier formulas, then you are in second tier. In this example, this member is a second-tier member. To begin the process of converting to first tier, select the Retirement tab, then select the Service Credit Purchase. If you have second-tier service, you'll have an option to select Convert to First Tier button. Just a reminder, if you intend to convert all past and future service credit, it involves a two-step process. You begin with converting future service, and once that is established, you can convert the past second-tier service. To learn more about second tier and electing second tier, review Publication 52, Second Tier Benefit Election Package. It also includes the election form. You can also review Publication 12, Service Credit Purchase Options, if you have second-tier service and are considering converting to first tier. Both of these publications are located on our website under Forms and Publications section. Before we end, I want to tell you that this presentation, like our previous presentations, is available as a video on our YouTube channel. Access our YouTube channel through our website, calpers.ca.gov, or directly on the YouTube website at youtube.com/CalPERS. Our presentation today was intended to give you an understanding of first and second tier membership categories. To reinforce the information you've received today, I encourage you to take one of our member education classes. Enroll in your MyCalPERS account under Education. Please note that CalPERS is governed by the Public Employees Retirement Law. The information in this video is general. The retirement law is complex and subject to change. If there is a conflict between the law and the information presented in this video, any decisions will be based on the law. Later today, you'll receive an email with a short evaluation. Please answer all of the questions, as it's important for us to get your feedback to help us improve these presentations. Thank you for taking time out of your day to attend this presentation, and have a great day.